Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Show, where we take a look at how you approach your work and personal life and how we can make the most out of both of them. A weekly get-together where we get real about self-improvement and development as we all make this not-so-easy journey through life. Our discussions will cover ideas and concepts from how to grow your career to how to lead your family towards prosperity and happiness. We don't pretend to know it all, and the doctor is the first to be vulnerable, discussing his own weaknesses, both past and present. This is about growing together and having some fun while we discuss what is happening in the crazy world we live in and how to make the most of it. Let's strive for awesome together. Let's get after it. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dr. Leadership Podcast. Happy New Year. January 1st, if you're listening to this on the day it's launched, to everyone out in the atmosphere. If you're a member, you've had this for several days. And remember, you're just a couple clicks away from joining the Dr. Leadership Podcast membership site. Go out to Patreon. I can be found at www.drleadershipresults.com. Go down to subscribe on the website. Takes you out to Patreon. Sign up, $5 a month. Great investment. It's time for those New Year's resolutions that I don't like, because I don't like setting a time to start a goal, but I like setting accomplishment dates. But we know that most of society likes to jump into the new year with some goals, and one of them can be self-development. And I am trying to help everybody with that. And there's now 135 episodes out there and guests on the Leadership Lounge. There's tons of content. We've got approaching 100 hours of content out on the airwaves now. I look back, I look at my stack of notes, and it's a few feet high. It's been a great run. Been 2 years and about 3 months that we've done this in. And great thanks to all of you. To the members that are already members, thank you. All of them have held. I haven't lost a single one, which is great. And if you join, one thing you can do is cancel at any time. The other thing you can do is you can email me if you've got any content ideas, if you've got any feedback, good, bad, indifferent. I don't have this thing figured out in life. I'm just trying to play along here and share the mistakes that I've made and try to help you not make the same ones. But you can reach out and hit us on the drleadershipresults@gmail.com. That's drleadershipresults@gmail.com, and send us an email. But I hope you had a great holiday season. Merry Christmas to the Christians out there. Happy Hanukkah to the Jewish faith. And if you celebrate anything else, happy holidays. I won't go through all of them. Those are the two big ones here in the U.S., so I'll comment on those two direct. But this episode really is about goals and objectives for the new year. I may not be a big one for New Year's resolutions, but I am a big one on taking a moment to grade yourself on where you are and what you need to do differently this year. And this one's about finances. It's a quick hitter. Probably won't burn up the whole 30 minutes today. Maybe we go long. I don't know. I might get on a roll here. But something that is important is to take this time to ensure you got things set up correctly financially for the next year. But I'm calling this Kickstart Your Future with these financial steps. It's 6, 7, 8 quick hitters that I just want everybody to be thinking about. Me, myself, I'm approaching retirement, right? I'll be 57 years old in January. When that time is, we'll figure out here shortly. But I've been able to do that because my wife and I, one thing that I am very proud of us on and that we have done a good job with is being very dedicated to our financial freedom and future. Not braggadocious in that statement, just saying that I've lived this journey, and some of these steps have been how we have been able to get to a point where we can consider pulling the plug whenever we desire to. And that's a great place to be in life. Many of you maybe are there. Many of you maybe are well past that. Many of you are maybe millionaires. And then there's the 99% of us regular folks out there that I'm speaking to right now that need to do better. And there's not a lot of complication of these things, but there's a lot of intimidation to these things. People are scared to embrace or dive in on something they don't truly understand. And then that terrible word, of procrastination comes into it. And the worst thing you can procrastinate on is your financial approach to life, because every year counts tremendously. Man, play this episode to your kids. Share it with your grandkids. Share it with your neighbors' kids. Share it with your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, whatever, that are young. If you're at 25 years of age to 30 years of age and you follow these 6 or 7 things, you will be a multi-millionaire at the age of retirement. 65 is the number I'm saying today. Social Security is going to be 70 years of age for anybody under the age of 40. It just is going to happen. It's not going to be enough to retire on. It was never meant to be a retirement vehicle. It's meant to be something that helps you feel a little security and maybe fill some gaps. But I saw something this week. 20% of people 50 years of age do not have any retirement savings. Well, if that's you, you're the idiot. And now you're running out of time, and it's going to be a burden for you, right? So we've talked about before, you can do your hard now or you can do your hard later. And doing your hard now means investing and not going out and buying $20 teenies and going out and spending money socially 4 nights a week, only going out every other week or something like that, and using that money you would have spent to drop into some different vehicles that allow you to become wealthy. It's up to you, folks. I don't care. I'm just sharing it because I've been on the journey. I had a prior life where it was spend most of what we made. That's just the life that I was involved in then. And then with my wife and I now, she was like, that ain't going to keep going on. She was great. She slapped me across the face and said, do you realize what happened to you the last 20 years? And I go, yeah, I do. And we got on the straight and narrow, and it's been wonderful. We have been partners in crime 50-50 the whole way. Could not ask for a better partner in my life than my wife, Erin. So love you, honey. Shout out to you. Happy New Year. So these steps, again, I'm not a financial planner. None of this guarantees results. I'm doing all the legalese here stuff. But what I am sure it will do is perform better than if you don't do any of them. So the first thing that I have to talk about here is it's kind of, and it's probably a little bit behind. This needed to be done probably 45 days ago or something. But you need to every year, let's just say it this way, make a note for next year. You got to look at, and hopefully your company provides a 401k or a pension. I'm going to talk about if they don't in a little bit. But it's time to look and see, are you hitting the maximums on 401ks or your retirement accounts? So the maximums are this. You as an individual working for a corporation, a company, not your own company, not self-employed, can put up to $23,500 of pre-tax earnings into your 401k in 2025. That's up from $23,000, up from $22,500. It goes up about $500 every year. Here in another 10 years, it'll go up $1,000 a year just to make the percentages the same to hold up with inflation. And if you are self-employed and it is your own company, you can put up to $70,000 a year in your own name in your 401k program. Now, these are pre-tax dollars, folks. What that means is that every dollar you put in only costs you about 65 cents, 70 cents net loss on your check because it goes into your 401k out of your check before the federal and state tax, if you have state tax, hit it. Just like your health insurance premium is taken out first, whatever your share is for your corporation that you're working for, comes out pre-tax. So it really doesn't affect you. So if for every $1,000 you put in, it really only net costs you $650. That's a big advantage. You got bigger dollars growing over time, and then it's taxed when it comes out. And we're going to talk about strategies pulling it out as well. But right now, $23,500 as an individual, $70,000 if self-employed. Now, many can't max it out yet. I understand that. You know, to put $23,500 in and to select 10% of your pre-tax income, you'd have to make $235,000 a year. I understand everybody doesn't make that kind of money. Based on the average incomes across the U.S., that's not attainable. But you know what is attainable? To take what you put in last year and raise it 1%, 2%, or 3%. Because, see, you won't notice that. Hopefully you got a little bump in pay last year, maybe a little merit increase, 2, 3, 4%. Every time that happens, take 50% of your raise and up your 401k or an investment portfolios in some manner with that money. It has a dramatic impact over time. That 1, 2, 3%, if you're making $100,000 a year as a combined family, let's say you're at the average, $58,000, $59,000 as an individual. Two of you, you're making $120,000. Well, guess what? 3% is $3,600. And you think, well, $3,600 over the next 40 years to get to 65 from 25, is only, 140, 150,000 bucks. No, man, you got compounding interest. That is probably worth $1 million because it's going to double if you keep running at the averages on the investment, the markets running at a little over 10% average for the last 120 years, you're going to double every dollar you put in every 7 years. Rule of 72, we've discussed it before. At least put the minimum in if your company offers a match. So if your company says we'll match 50% up to the first 6% you put in, that means that you select 6% of your pre-tax dollars to go into a 401k. And now there's Roth 401ks available through these retirement firms too, and we'll talk about differences there in a second. But you'll get 3% or 50% of the money you put in up to 6%. They'll put 3%. That's 50% return on your money without having anything happen. There's not a bigger fool than someone that doesn't participate in the retirement programs that their companies offer. There is not a bigger fool that doesn't put as much as they can through this vehicle into their retirement accounts. Another little thing that you can do if you're over 50, I am, my wife is not, soon, 5 years. But if you're over 50, they allow you what's called catch-ups. Not as in the condiment, not like mustard and ketchup, but catch-up donations. They understand that if you're 50 years old and you don't have enough yet, okay, we've written into the tax laws to give you a little bit more to throw in. They increase actually by 1/3 of the max, the 23.5, not quite 1/3, but you can do an extra $7,500 this year. And your company has to offer that if you're over 50, if they have a 401k or retirement program. So all in, you can put $31,000 away as an individual if you want. And as an individual owner of the business, remember you're at 70 and then the catch-ups are available there too, so you can put up to $77,500. Now, as a personal business owner, there's huge tax advantages there on your income. Put it in your 401k program because it's pre-tax if you can. That's why the number's big, because the employer running a business, there's a lot of risk there. We get it. I touched on Roth IRAs a little bit here too. So max out your Roth IRA this year. This is on top of your 401k if you can. If you can reach the maximum amount of the 23.5 and you at the end of the year and your catch-ups, and maybe there's arguments to putting more in the Roth versus 401k. I'll let you do your research on that. Just pick one of the vehicles is all I'm saying, folks. But if you utilize the personal Roth IRA, this year you can put, let's say you max out your 401k program, and you max out your match. You can also put into a Roth $7,000 this year if you're under 50 years of age. And you can put $8,000 this year, 2025, if you're over 50 years old. Now, the difference between Roth and 401k is Roth is after-tax dollars. So you get your paycheck after all the stuff, your 401k is taken out, your health insurance premiums taken out, federal, Uncle Sam takes their cut, your state, if you have state income tax, takes their cut, and then what's left, you can invest that into a Roth, and it grows for years and years and years. And it has the same penalties for early withdrawal. You have some outs if you need it for education, some things like that, but health needs without penalties. There's a penalty on your 401k as well if you take it out before 59 and a half, same with a Roth, 59 and a half years of age. But you don't owe any tax on a Roth IRA when you take the money out after you turn 59 and a half. So every dollar that grows into ends up being tax-free. Now, Uncle Sam gets their money one way or the other. They take it out of your check and allow you to go into a Roth, or they take it out of the pull out of your funds in a 401k down the road. And tax management I'm going to touch on a little bit too, because that's a big differentiator as well. Anybody that says billionaires are evil people because they use write-offs is an idiot. Everybody should use everything inside the tax code legally and with integrity allows you to take. We didn't write the laws. I'm just abiding by them. I'm going to take every write-off I am entitled to and can legally take forever. If you have a problem with that, you aren't for my show. Move on. Spin the dial and find somewhere else to go. Now, I don't have a personal preference on Roth or 401k. I don't care. The funds, you can mix your investments up a whole lot of ways. There's typically 10, 15, 20 different investments. But I know 401k matching is that free money. So that's the big point there. So do that first, and then any other money, use as you see fit. If you have a 401k, I would invest in that to at least the league minimum to get the most match out of your company where they're giving you free dollars. Then you choose if you want to do Roth or a pre-tax or a post-tax approach for your investments. Now, I thought if you are older and approaching mandatory distributions on your 401k, a Roth is a great way to get the amount that will be mandated out of your 401k through what are called RMDs. That stands for required minimum distributions. And a Roth IRA is a great way to manage holding on to wealth and maximizing tax advantages when you reach RMD age. And again, RMD is required minimum distributions. So say you have a 401k, you've retired, you're 65 years old, you've built it up, it's $1.5 million in there. At the current law, at the age of 73, you have to then take the average estimated time of death or age at death for a male or a female, and you minus 73 years old from that number. So let's say it's 83 for easy math. So mandatory distributions start at the age of 73, and they say the average age for a male is 83 for this example. That means I have to take, over the next 10 years, required minimum distributions of 1/10. It's 10 years between 73 and 83. I have to take 1/10 of my money out of the 401k every year. It's mandated by the federal government. You cannot avoid this. What you do want to do is to understand that those mandatories are coming and make sure that in that example, that 1/10 of your amount doesn't put you into a tax bracket that just absolutely hammers your pre-tax funds to the nth degree. So this year, I didn't look up the tax code, but I think it's about $375,000, maybe $400,000 a year. If your adjusted gross income is that or higher, you're at the top level. You're over 37% federal tax. If you live in the state of Iowa, it's another 3.5%. You're at 40%. Going to whack that. So you take a mandatory distribution, and I said $1.5 million in your 401k. That'd be in 10 years. It'd be $150,000 a year. If you've already brought home that year through other investments and taxable Social Security and all these different things, and that $150,000 puts you up into the next higher tax bracket, you're wasting money. So before you get to that RMD age, in a year where your income is down, a lot of people need to understand, hoard cash the last few years before you retire, because it'll allow you to have very low income tax for a couple, 3 years if you can stash that much away. If you have a deferred compensation program, that can help you get the cash created. And in those years where you have a very low adjusted gross income coming to you because of how the money is working for you, then is the time to take money out of the 401k if you're past 59 and a half, so there's no penalty, and take the tax at a lower tax bracket where your income makes you land that year. Reinvest that. You don't need to spend it. You don't need the money that year. Move it into a Roth. Invest it there. That money will never be taxed again. So you've taken the least amount of tax by moving the 401k out in years where you keep it in a low tax bracket because of your other income, and you put it in a Roth where it's never taxed again. Great way to protect wealth. You're an idiot if you're willing to pay 37 or 40% total tax if you can get away with taking 50, 60, 70,000 at a time from the age of 62, 63 up to that required minimum distribution start age of 73 right now, and moving it over into a Roth because you're going to pay 15% tax or 20% tax on it instead of 35 or 40. If you don't have a good accountant, remember Jane Frazier from Scharf Para came on the show. It's a great episode. Go out and listen to it. She talks about private business ownership and personal taxation. Trust me, my retirement planning has her on one hip and my financial advisor team on the other hip. The financial advisors grow the money. The accounting firm saves the money. They save it from taxation. If you don't have an accounting company doing your taxes and you're 50 years of age, I would start getting someone in your life, a friend or somebody that understands tax code, and help you manage your money. Because a 1-year bad mistake in that example, say you did really good. You got a $400,000 mandatory distribution. You got $4 million sitting there at the age of 73 because it kept growing. 1/10 of that's 400 grand. You're going to lose 160,000 in taxes if you don't think about it. So it's really important to have that partner on your team, and it's really important to understand how to use the taxation and the monetary provisions and all of this that the government has given you to use. Smart people lean into this. Smart people protect their hard work, don't procrastinate on it, and guess what? They end up being wealthy a long, long time. The third thing I want to talk about as you go into the new year, or right before the new year, is adjust that mix in your investments. So certain stocks and funds in 2024 have had a simply massive year. It's been very, very good. Dow's up 15%, S&P's up about 27%, but the S&P's up. This is very misleading. The big seven stocks, it's Apple and it's Alphabet, Meta, who else is on there? It doesn't matter. The big seven are responsible for 52% of the gains this year. But when you have a year where certain stocks or certain investments have done very well, depending on what those investments are invested in, could create a need for you to rebalance what you're putting your future and existing dollars in. So what I'm talking about here is you want to diversify your investments. So one big crash, one big stock negative hit doesn't crush your portfolio. You want to have 20 different types of investments across 5 or 6 different verticals. Recommendations for me, not from me. The way I've looked at it is I want something in healthcare. I want something in technology. I want something in AI in some manner. I want something in finance. I want something in insurance. I want something in steady commodity type things. I'm diversified across a lot of things. And they typically say, put a certain percent, we'll just use, let's say it's 5 verticals or 5 industries you're going to concentrate on. It's healthcare, it's finance, it's technology, it's AI, and it's insert the whatever your 5th one is. Well, if you have one area of that has a monster year, you're going to be outside that 20% in each of those 5 investments weighting. Again, not weighting, W-A-I-T, but weighting, W-E-I-G-H-T-I-N-G, how much you have in each type of investment. So if you want to be diversified and you want 20% of your portfolio in these 5 different things, at the end of the year, one of those things may have grown to 35% of your entire nest egg is now in one vertical. So at the beginning of the year, or when the time comes that you can reselect your 401k or your contributions, and if it's a personal account that you're doing in, do this on your own investments. If you're using Charles Schwab, if you're using any of these others, E-Trade, etc., look at your balance every year of how much of percent of your nest egg is in each different vertical that you're playing in. I'm not a big believer in trying to buy a flying stock, trying to catch the NVIDIA early. Now, some people have become multi-millionaires. I'm not coaching against that. God bless them. They got lucky. The better journey, the more insured, E-N-S-U-R-E-D, path is low and slow. The marathon approach, not a sprint approach. Few people are millionaires because they've gone into crypto. A lot of people lost it all. See, human nature doesn't give us the hair on our you-know-whats to hold out when it's going bad. So people typically sell when it's low and buy when it's high because they're trying to get in on the hot stock. Well, it's already too high. You're buying past the gains. And then when you're losing, they get scared and they go, I'm going to lose it all. Sell, sell, sell. And then guess what? That stock comes back and they miss all the returns to the normalized gains. The best way to get wealthy in this country, the most insured way, is to go low and slow. Every month, put money into an account. Every year, rebalance. Every year, up the percent of your income a little bit into those investments. And if you do that from the age of 22, 23, 25, 30 on, you will be a multimillionaire. Most millionaires are cops and teachers, firemen. They aren't making $250,000, $350,000 a year. They're making $60,000. And they're retiring as millionaires because they invest in their IPERS account or in their 401k or their pension. and it grows over years and years. So do the long game here, I promise you. So adjust that mix every year, look at it, readjust it as you see fit. The fifth might be international, right? So you got the 4 verticals, and then you play in international markets. It might be large cap and small cap, or it might be mid cap. Just S&P, NASDAQ, whatever. Just put money somewhere. It's going to make a difference. The next thing I said I would come back to is start watching for tax documents. I talked about tax a little bit, but this time of year, now is the time to watch your mailbox. Your W-2s are going to come. Your 1098 mortgage statements are going to come. Your 1099s are going to come. Car registration, if you can write that off in your state, which you can. Property tax, any donations. I just went through my closet this morning, took out a couple of suits that have shrunk. The dry cleaner absolutely screwed up 2 of my suits. They don't fit anymore. So I'm going to go and make a drive-by tomorrow before the end of the year to Goodwill, drop off a couple $1,000s worth of value of clothes. My wife did it about a month ago, her stuff, and we'll turn that in for donations, help somebody else out. Someone else, they're great suits, probably $700-800 suits. Someone will pick them up for $50 at Goodwill down the road. That's great to help others, but I get the write-off. Again, use the write-offs, folks. Use the write-offs. So I'm going to do that tomorrow to make sure I capture that before the end of the year. So watch for your tax documents, get some donations done, get the check sent off, etc. For that. Drop it off. We're out of getting it there through the mail time right now. Do it online so you hit inside this year. Actually, you're listening to this January 1st. Make this note for next year. The other thing I think that's really important, and I do this about every 90 days actually, is review your credit card statements for legacy subscriptions that you no longer need, you've canceled, right? How many things have we signed up on a free trial for, and you can cancel at any time? Guess what those companies are counting on? The laziness of us, myself at the top of the heap, the front of the line there, that'll forget to go and cancel it. So that $29.95, and especially this time of year, you're going out and you're starting in your gym and you sign up, hey man, sign up for 18 months and you get a little bit better deal. And guess what? The second Friday of January is the most common day that people stop their New Year's resolutions, and fitness is number one by far, weight loss and fitness. Get yourself in mental shape, get yourself in physical shape. Don't worry about the weight loss. If you do the other 2 things, that'll come. Watch what you're shoving down your gullet, but make sure that you check your credit card statements to look for inadvertent spending that you don't want to be making that is still sitting out there. So look through it. The other thing you do with your credit card bill at the end of the year, excuse me, is you can go, we're American Express and luxury cards, what the other one we use, but mostly American Express. They have reporting. You can go onto the app and say, show me my spend, and it'll shock the crap out of you. And then what you do is you go out and find a way to get 10% of that out of your life next year. Because what that does is that makes 0 impact on the Roth, the 401k, and all the other investments that you can make for your future. No one needs to go out to dinner 3 times a week. No one needs to go and be seen at bars 5 nights a week. Nobody needs to drink at 30 years old, 25 years old, $20 martinis. Refer to Dive Bars episode 2 weeks ago. I skipped Christmas, so welcome back, everybody. I took the week off. But use that money that you find in savings opportunities to power your investments forward. Review that credit card statement. The next one, if you have, and none of these are in particular order because you need to pay off debt. You need to get a 6-month savings set up for emergencies if something bad happens, etc. I'm going to touch on that in a minute. So these aren't in any particular order, but the next one I put is if you have debt, it is time to get after it. Some way, somehow, knock down the principal and learn your damn lesson. Get that debt taken care of and save for a house. Everybody's, I can't afford a house. You can't afford not to figure out how to afford a house. How you build wealth in this country is through real estate and savings. Biggest attributes that you can utilize to get wealth built in this world that we live in, called the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. We've got warts, we've got freckles, still the best. We had 13 million in the last 3 years run across the northern and southern border trying to get here. They're trying to get here for a reason. It's not because they're war-torn countries, a lot of them. It's because they want to get into the economy that we offer. But if you have debt, knock it down. And the key here is, let's say your debt's the mortgage. pay one extra payment a year on your mortgage payment, it all goes to principal. You cut 7 years off a 30-year mortgage. A 30-year mortgage will go down to 23 years, and take 7 years times your payment amount, and that's how much interest you save. If you've got a 7-year savings and your mortgage is $1,000 a month, it's $84,000 in savings. 1,000 times 84 months, which is 7 years, 7 times 12 months, you just saved $84,000. The house might be, with a $1,000 mortgage, your house is probably a $350,000 house. You just saved almost a fourth of the cost of that home, net over the 30 years by just paying a little extra. Get the debt paid down. If you have car loans and student loan notes that have very low, and mortgages too, this is true of all of it, there's better ways to use the money. If you've got a 2.5% mortgage, I wouldn't concentrate, my opinion, I would not concentrate on buying your mortgage down. If you've got a 10% credit card, that's where you go first. If you've got a 6% car loan, that's what you pay off first, because that's costing you money. The market, by taking any extra money you have and putting it into a Roth IRA or into a side account, is going to outperform the cost of that debt fivefold, 4.5, fivefold if you're at a 2.5% note. So use it wisely. Think about how the math works. If you don't know or aren't comfortable, spend $15 for the year and invest in Kiplinger magazine. Invest in Money magazine. Invest in Forbes magazine. You can get them to be online. You can be them in paper delivery. And then, I got an idea, read them. I remember I got them for my daughters, and they said, oh, we don't have enough money to invest. It's not just about having money to invest. It's how to save money on health insurance. It's how to save money on your car insurance. It's how to save money on your mortgage. It's how to create wealth through savings in other areas. It's about how to buy down debt. These articles are all encompassing. Invest in your own well-being is what I'm saying here. So get that debt taken care of. And then I said a minute ago, you have to have 3 to 6 months of emergency savings fund. You just have to in this world we live in. Cars break. And if it's a transmission, $3,000. Doesn't matter if the car's 20 years old or 2 years old. Well, 2 years old would probably be, unless you're over the mileage, be covered by warranty. But just know, shit happens. So you got to have a savings put up. House items need repairs. Furnace, I have a great friend. Furnace went out, 27 years old. He goes, well, we're going to do the air conditioner too. Nice house, not huge, not 10,000 square feet or anything, $12,000 to replace heating and air conditioning unit. That's not a nice Christmas gift, but you got to be prepared to handle it. Guess what also happens? Layoffs. You know how many? We're at net negative job growth in the last year. When you take how many of the jobs were actually a second job for people to make ends meet, when you incorporate the layoffs, and when you incorporate the bad math, it was overdone by million plus jobs in 2024 in what the estimates from the government was. Don't believe everything the government says to you, folks. I'm just telling you. Okay, this one's important. Set and hold a damn budget. Sit down with your significant others and go, okay, where are we spending it? What are we spending it on? Where can we squeeze a little bit out? I'm not talking about living in a hobbit type world here. But again, be very focused on your spending versus your saving. Be a 1% person here. What I mean by that is 99% of the people don't take care of their own financial freedom and their well-being in the future. Be that 1%er. Be the one that's sitting on millions of dollars when you're 65 years old, 57 years old. It's going to cost a lot of money to live for a long time. My mom's going to be 90. She's working on 96. She's 95 as of August. She's still chugging away. She never pictured when my dad retired at 62 that was going to, in 1988, that was going to be a problem to run out of money. She's on fumes. It's not her fault. She wasn't supposed to live 40 years in retirement. It's happening to all of us. So more savings is critical right now. The next thing I'd say to touch on is and if you don't have a revocable trust set up, you can do them online. You can find an attorney. It's a couple $1,000s for a good attorney to do it. Online, you can do it for several hundred. And guess what? Your company may offer legal insurance. So for $350, $15 a paycheck, you can have an attorney do this for you at no additional charge. Check in your company's legal insurance offerings if they have them. If not, go online and get something simple. Have a will. The trust is important because you avoid probate. You will be able to have your money moved to your family members immediately instead of the courts getting involved, which can take months, if not years, to loosen up that money. The feds, if you are in an or in an area of worth that is going to be hit by taxes, right now it's a big number. Few people get hit by inheritance tax right away, but it can happen. And the government doesn't wait without starting to charge you penalties. So if you haven't done the right things, if you've got a high net worth and you don't have a revocable trust and a will that moves money to your spouse first and then to the trust, and however you want to put the money, maybe you don't give it to your spouse. All mine goes to my wife. But if you if you don't have that set up, again, a very foolish position. Trusts aren't for billionaires. Trusts are for people that have $400,000 or $500,000 saved. Trusts are for people that have $1 million saved, $2 million saved, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. So don't think that you can't play in that game. Everybody can play in the game. And another thing to make sure, don't be underinsured or overinsured. Make sure that if you are the sole breadwinner that you've got a nice life insurance policy there, but don't go out and, if you're making $75,000 a year, you don't need a $2 million life insurance policy. You maybe need $400,000 or $500,000. It also depends on if your significant other is at a working age and capable of working and going to work if you would happen to pass. They'd be accountable for some of their own well-being as well. But you can be overinsured or underinsured. So check your insurance this time as well. And the last thing I'd say, after you've got your nest egg money funneled in, after you've taken care of your 3 to 6 month, and after your debt's been taken care of, go out and buy yourself something nice. Nothing feels more rewarding than saving for something for yourself. Maybe it's an old muscle car. Maybe it's a new, Game Boy, whatever the friggin' things are. Maybe it's a new TV. Maybe it's a golf membership. Maybe it's new clubs. Maybe it's a new dress. Maybe it's a new computer, whatever it is. Save a little bit and treat yourself a little bit, because that's going to get your mentality to appreciate savings. It's giving you a quicker reward. Remember, we did an episode, gosh, it's probably been 6 months ago. We have to fight this instant gratification. We have to prolong or push off, delay gratification in the big things in life because it takes a long time to save enough to live. But make little baby steps. Go on a quick little vacation. Make a weekend away. Do a staycation at a local resort. But pay yourself something nice. And if you follow these 7 or 8 things, 9 things, and if you do that religiously and with very, very good dedication, you're going to be awesome. Keep that shit up. Talk next week.